Welcome guys, Jay from rightsprite.co.uk here. Well, here's a quick video in my Xbox upgrading project that's going on, changing the thermal paste for the OG Xbox and some tips on why to do so. Well, it's a 20-year-old system in the timing of this video, so it should be time to, right? I really found some further appreciation for this console. When it was originally released, it wasn't my favourite one to go to in that generation of consoles. But doing this product and with the Xbox community out there, it has been pretty awesome. Well, this will be the first time I've ever done a job with thermal paste. It is also called thermal compound. The main role about thermal paste is to eliminate any air gaps or spaces, which can act as an insulation for the surface in order to maximise heat transfer distribution. Here's a snazzy little picture about what that's all about. Well, before we go ahead and do so, I'm not exactly endorsed by Microsoft, but if this is your type of content and new games coming to retro gaming consoles as well as other retro gaming goodness, hit us with the like and subscribe. That would be awesome. And if you need any direction on tools or how to open up this beast of a console, I recommend checking out my first video in this project. Link will be in the description box below. So now we are at the GPU sink, and they're held down by a little clip in the middle. As you can see at the bottom and at the top, you may want to get a flathead screwdriver just to wedge them out, but you can just be removed like that. But to remove the heatsink itself, you may want to just turn on the Xbox itself, and this will then heat up the thermal paste and the GPU sink, making it easier to remove itself. So just wait about a minute or two, and then you should feel the heat come off the heatsink itself. So give it a little bit of a touch, and when it's a bit hot, then I think you're just basically good to go. But try not to touch anything else when you got the power on. Just as a little safety reminder there. So let's remove the heatsink of the GPU, and it didn't take that much pressure at all. It's a bit like chewing gum really. So a little bit of tidying up, and it's not that too dry, it's not too flaky at all, it's just a bit thicker than it should be. So let's try and get the heatsink off the processor now. Oh, this does have a black clip that you want to lift up at the beginning, and try and get a flathead just to wedge up the bottom and the top end, and then this should remove off. It's a little bit more fiddly than the GPU, and you can see it's just a little tiny blob, but all that is dried up. So we need to get some of these all cleaned up using the wipes that came with that kit. If you are interested in purchasing this, of course it will be in the description box if you need to get this all in one kit. So we need to give this a good clean, get around the edges and the corners to make sure there's nothing left on there. And then when we've got all this done, just make sure there's nothing else left over, and we want to dry it off. I just used a bit of canned air just to make sure that the surface is all good to go to apply our new thermal paste. You can pick these up from a Poundland or even at Home Bargains. They're only just a couple of quid. So now our surfaces are all cleaned up and dried, ready to put our new compound. But let's give these heatsinks a bit of a clean as well, to make sure they're all nice and ready. Well, back to the main question, why do you need to change the thermal paste? Well, for about a 20-year-old system, it is recommended to replace any thermal paste for a PC or electrical good, mostly found on GPUs and processor, after about 7 years. And if you already have thermal paste lying around, it is recommended that you should not use it if it's over 2 years old. So this is our Akaska thermal paste 455. There is a lot out there. This is just one that I picked up from Amazon for a good price. So we just need a little tiny daub on the processor itself, just a little drip, nothing more, and try and make sure there's no little drags. And I think that's about right. When it comes to the GPU, I just put a thin layer like an X shape, and then I just put a blob in the middle to make sure it's evenly spread. So just be careful and take your time. And don't forget to put the lid on your thermal paste, because you don't want that drying up. So we want to put the heat sinks back on. You want to put this on very carefully. So I just kind of rest it on there and place a little bit of pressure and hold it down then for about 2 minutes. And we just do the same again then for the processor. We want to get these clips back on, which is always a bit of a fiddle. Not too bad this time. Now for the processing heatsink. And another 2 minutes holding that down. And then we just want to clip that black lid down. Now this is, again, another fiddly type of job. Let's just try and get it down. And it's just popped up again. Right, okay, let's do this properly. There we go. No editing was done there. One obvious sign when you need to change the thermal paste for your GPU or CPU is that the temperatures are getting too hot. Although there are a lot of things that can cause these high temperatures, you should notice a change when you apply the new thermal paste. When applying this, it's not beneficial to put even more on. You just need a small amount to cover a thin layer across. Now this was the first attempt that I've ever done, and I do hope that I've been doing a good job. And we're back at this power cable. This has always been a nightmare doing this project. There we go. It's finally, nope, hang on, let's get this in properly. Man, this thing is a fiddle. So guys, I do appreciate if you've been following me on my journey on my project OG Xbox Pro X. So as always, if you like this video, hit that button. If you want to support the channel, click subscribe. You leave your comments below, and I catch you a lot on the next video.